Hi, I'm Pyrie Burton, and you're watching The VAdio Show.
The VAdio Show is brought to you by We Care Transport for Kids and Platforms Shoe Boutique.
Boy, you're sure in a hurt. You think you can treat me like dirt and then get away with it, honey. Well, you got another thing coming out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to a special VAdio show. It's the People Show, right? We're going to call this episode A Moment in Black History. Being that this is Black History Month, it had a lot of things that happened in Black history, but this is a good moment, and we're going to talk about some things you may not even have known. I've got someone here that was a part of Black history, a big part, has a lot of knowledge that he's going to be able to give to us. I want you to introduce yourself and let the folks know who you are and what you did.
My name is Sam Allen. I'm a former player of the Negro League Baseball. I played with Kansas City Monarchs 57, Raleigh Taggers 58, and the Memphis Red Socks in 1959. And I'm a member of the Society of Research Baseball of America.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you something because we talked about some stuff in the back before the cameras came on. How was your experience in the Negro League? And there's some things that we didn't know that you got a lot of information on. Can you tell us about it?
Well, when you played in the Negro League, it was a bus. It was a bus league. You played Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You played one game.
Mm-hmm.
Friday night you played 2 games. Saturday you played 2 games. And some Sundays you played 2 doubleheaders.
Wow.
And you had to keep going to make money.
Right, right.
And what happened, we carried the game to the small towns.
Mm-hmm.
We carried the game to the small towns, and it was entertaining. The people, they didn't have the television then like they have now.
Mm-hmm.
See, so and everybody loved baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And black folks could play baseball at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. And we had some things we had policemen. Once you down south,
Mm-hmm.
once you hit cross the railroad track, you know you was home.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about anything once you cross that track.
But you know what's crazy, not to cut you off, the impression that we got, especially from a lot of documentaries they put out and whatnot, is South was a problem for y'all when y'all came down there to play.
No. The only time we actually had problems was in Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
right over there, Newport, Kentucky, you know. And down southern Illinois, Missouri. I know in Saxon, Missouri, we were traveling, and the bus driver said, that's church where they took a brother and rolled him in tar, and dipped him in tar and rolled him in feathers, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But when we were in Mississippi, we because black folks we were in the black restaurants and black clubs, and we come in contact with black folks, you know. But what happened, the Negro League, let me go back to the beginning. 1924, 1920, Rube Foster organized the Negro League.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he did this, he was so foresighted. He said, I'm going to develop a league that whenever they let us play, we'll be ready.
Right. And this is a white man or a black man?
This is a black man.
Okay.
He was a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the great managers, John McGraw, was one of the great managers of baseball. And they said when he died, and they saw some of his memoirs, and said one thing that he'd wished that he could have had Rube Foster as his pitching coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was a genius with the game, playing, and he was a smart businessman too. And what he used to do, he had Chicago American Giants. And if you played with him to bunt, and I do it, use it now with the youngsters, had to put a cap down, and if you didn't bunt the ball in the cap, he would fine you.
Wow,
So,
straight off.
Yeah, and then see, we played the game a little different than they play it now. And we put the excitement, when blacks started playing baseball, we put the excitement in the game, because we could run, and we could bunt, and then we could hit the long ball too.
Right, right.
And then when I was playing, during that time, we didn't have the pitching helmets. See?
And you just play with the bat and
they throw at you. See, they would throw at you. You learn how to duck, you know.
So they try to hit you with the
ball. Yeah. After you hit a home run, that's why we didn't hit a lot of home runs, because the pitcher gonna knock you down.
Wow.
Yeah, knock you down. And we had the big. Plus, we wore wool uniforms. We had a little. This was like softball uniform. We had that wool. It'd be thick,
heavy, hot,
and be biting. You know, that wool would be biting you. And after the game, you took a shower. And what you had to do, you had your supporters, you had to keep that clean. And your socks, you had to, because if you got athlete's feet, you know, you're through.
Right.
And you had shower shoes, so when you walked in the shower, we had showers every night, even some of them might have been cold. But when we put those uniforms in the back of the bus, and the motor was in the back, and the next day, you pull it out that bag, and it was wet when you put it in there, and it would
dry when you come out, guys.
Be steaming. No, it'd be steaming.
Oh, gotcha.
And smelling, you know. So we had and traveling. We'd be going down the highway, and we had a funnel and a pipe on the bus, so you didn't have to stop. You changing drivers. You wouldn't pull over to the side to change. You shift gear and shift drivers just like that.
Why wouldn't you pull over though?
We trying to make some time.
I got you.
Yeah, we traveled. I remember one game we traveled from after the game and showered till 10 minutes before the game the next night. We were up in a place called Bangor, Pennsylvania. We traveled. Yeah, and with the Monarchs, we had a good bus. But some of the other teams had buses that would break down. I remember once we were out in Nebraska, and we saw Birmingham over in the cornfield. And the next night, we end up in the cornfield. You'd be traveling all day, and all you see is cattle, open space. And so the bus driver, and what the bus driver used to do, they had them super highways like you got now. You had that one highway, and the bus driver, late nights, he would drive that, the center line, he straddled that.
I got you.
And we had a water cooler where we sit on the water cooler and talk to the bus driver.
Got you.
Yeah, we sit on.
Help keep him up.
Right, then we had 2 radio stations that you could pick up all through the South, with Randy's out of Gallatin, Tennessee, right, Nashville, and WWL and Moon Glow Martin out of New Orleans. If you like jazz, you could pick that up all over the South. Yeah, but you could pick that up all over the South.
Let me ask you this. When it came to, because you had made mention to, the Negro League not only had just black people, they had a couple of white people and women.
Yeah, the Negro League had 5 white guys. What happened when they started grabbing players, the Branch Rickey and them was taking players from Negro League, J.B. Martin said, well, what I'm gonna do a reverse. So we got him some white players.
And threw them in the mix.
Yeah, they played with the Chicago American Giants. And Louis Carrizio, then he went to Birmingham. Bull Connors made him get out the dugout and sit in the stand.
Wow.
Yeah, made the white boys get out the dugout and sit in the stand.
Like they ain't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to get deep into that because there's a few other things you told me I got to let the people know. We're going to take it to commercial break. This is the VAdio Show and a moment in black history. Don't touch that dial. A message from one of our proud sponsors.
We Care Transport for Kids offers parents a safe, community trusted, and reliable children's transportation service. We Care transports kids to and from school and on to other after-school activities such as aftercare, tutoring lessons, sports, and other enrichment programs. We also have wheelchair vans for transporting children with special needs. So if you're in need of a reliable and affordable door-to-door service, give us a call. We Care is not just a name, it's what we do.
A message from one of our proud sponsors.
I need it, I want it, I gotta have it. Platform, high-class shoes at a low cost.
Your shoe experience awaits. Platform Shoe Boutique and the Gentleman's Closet is your place for quality, high fashion, and trendy shoes. Located at 9622 Warwick Boulevard in the Hilton Shopping Center in Newport News. Check us out at platformsboutique.net. Platforms is your holiday VIP spot, specializing in VIP parties and private showings. We closed the boutique down just for you. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Shop online at our online store, platformsboutique.net.
Out in the streets, about to do this interview with Malik. We so sweet.
Hi, I'm Malik Hawkins, and I'm playing Travis Younger.
I'm Quincy Carr, playing Walter Lee Younger.
I'm Tashana Latrice, and I will be playing the newest character, Mrs. Johnson.
Well, my character is, I play the role of Benita.
My character is Lena Younger, and I play Mama. Mama is the matriarch for the family.
My character, his name is Carl Linder. He's a representative of the neighborhood association of the neighborhood the Youngers are trying to move into.
I'm here with Marlon Hargrave, co-owner of Keep the Change Productions, who's putting a play on March 14th at Willett Hall called A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry.
On the countdown. 5.
I'm sorry, bro. Why is it important to support this show? Not just because there's good actors in it, not just because it's a great show, not just because it's at Willett Hall. Why is it important to support the show?
Virginia doesn't get a lot of respect for its acting industry. I think this would be a great opportunity to come out and support the Virginia actors.
Well, first of all, we do need to sell the tickets. Okay?
That's true. That's
okay,
true.
let's go and get them tickets.
We've
been on Broadway several times. Denzel just rapped with it, and the play is done year-round.
I think it's very important to support this play because we have a lot of actors and actresses in this cast who are really working hard to bring you all an awesome show. This show is not just for us, it's also for you.
Raisin in the Sun is one of the greatest plays of the 20th century. It's a very relevant play in this day and age with race relations in this country.
Mainly because we want to let folks know that there is talent right here in Hampton Roads. And it's better to support the local performing arts. Don't look at it as, oh, it's local folks. Look at it as these are some talented individuals that's going to put our city on the map.
Keep the money in the community. Come and support your own. There is a lot of talent here in the Virginia area, so don't sleep on the talent.
Please come out and see us because we're going to give you everything that you would see on Broadway.
Right.
Or even a great show that comes through here. We have several people that come through, or several production companies that come through here. People that spend their money because they don't think that they can get the quality here.
Gotcha.
And we at Keep the Change Productions, we're saying that yes, you can. I'm trained from New York, from D.C., but trained in New York, worked in L.A. as well, so my standards are very high as far as the quality that we're looking for.
Gotcha.
And I will only deal with trained actors, so that's the level that we're on.
I promise you, you come out to the show, I won't act like I don't know you when I make it and when we make it. We'll accept your friendship on Facebook, okay? Follow us on Twitter, all of that.
We gotta support our own. You wanna see big things, you don't have to buy a plane ticket and fly to Hollywood. You don't have to drive to Atlanta. We can build this right here, but it comes with you support. Support Keep the Change. Support this show on March 14th at Willard Hall. We're going to see you there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the VAdio Show, and this is a moment in Black history. I just got to ask you, man, because you was telling me that, you know, a lot of people, when they think of the Negro League, they think about the 1900s and things like that, but it goes back much, much further.
Yeah, but
how far back? When did it start?
Go Black baseball, they started, I think they were saying that Ken Burns did a research on that. I think they said that we had black players that played. Frederick Douglass had children, I think, that played baseball. We had baseball. They played the slaves. They said that played baseball. But we had teams, barnstorming teams back in the 1800s. Matter of fact, Norfolk had a team. I think it was about 1887, something like that. The Norfolk Red Stockings.
Wow.
And they traveled over the country. They played in New York. They had a team called the Garthians. Pittsburgh was the Pisons. And, I mean, Pittsburgh was the Keystone.
Gotcha.
Philadelphia was the Pisons. See, and Norfolk was the Red Stockings.
Wow.
And they traveled, they played all, and you had a team called the Page Fence Giants. Was a black team.
Page Fence
that traveled in a Pullman car. They had a Pullman's car that they traveled. They traveled all over the country. They worked for the Page Fence.
They didn't get paid back then?
Yeah, they got paid.
Really?
They got paid. And then at one time, 1945, Satchel Paige was making $50,000 a year.
Shut your mouth. $50,000 a year.
And some of the teams, some of the players were making $1,000 a month during that time.
Wow.
Yeah. So they made money. Plus, what would happen, they had some brothers down in Mexico that would come up here and offer them twice as much money. And a lot of them would leave and go down to Mexico. Because we had one player, he should have gone to the majors, but he jumped and went to the Mexican League, and I think they might have held that against him. His name was Ray Dandridge. And they say he was one of the greatest third basemen that ever played the game. And matter of fact, he was from Richmond, Virginia.
Really?
Yeah. And he, in the later years, in the 50s, they finally, when they started integrating, they signed him at Minneapolis. He played with Minneapolis, and he hit about 365. But he was about 40 years old.
Wow.
Just like Satchel. When Satchel pitched in 1948, I think it was the largest night crowd they ever had at a baseball game, over 70,000 with Cleveland. He was almost 50 years old then.
That is crazy, man.
They've been playing, but it was big money. Now, in 1924, Rube Foster organized the league in 1920. But 1924, they had over 400,000 fans.
Wow.
And the reason that Ricky wanted to bring in Jackie Robinson, it was to bring the black fan base.
Gotcha.
See, baseball was struggling. So this is what he got to do to try to make some money. See, it's always been about the dollar.
Right.
It's about the dollar. See, and like I say,
so that's why y'all didn't have no problems most of the time, because y'all was bringing money.
Making money. And what they would do, like they would play Yankee Stadium and those Major League Parks. It was Negro League Baseball, but the Jew would get his 15% off the top for you playing that. You know,
gotcha.
I always had that, you know. So, and but some of the teams, you know, were well off now. The Kansas City Monarchs was owned by a white man named A.J. Wilkins. Yeah, he was from out in Iowa, but he was pretty fair because they were one of the best paid teams. Then we had the Indianapolis Clowns that did the show. Sid Pollard owned them. Because his cousin owned the Harlem Globetrotters, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then the rest of the teams were had black owners. But now in 1920, 1922, they found out that the black teams were making that money. So the white backers formed what you call the Eastern Colored League. The Eastern League. It was the Eastern League. And they played the Monarchs, I think, in 1924 World Series. But they went out of business after 24.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but they tried to but Rube Foster was smart enough to stay in business. And what you had to do, you had the big cities, and you had to make up games. You didn't play like we played. We had 6 teams in the league when I was playing. So we would play local teams, you know, to fill our schedule up. So that's right. And then sometimes we would play, like I said, on Sunday, we might play a doubleheader here in Norfolk, and we go to Suffolk and play a doubleheader that night.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about this, because you were telling me that the Negro League would play the major leagues on a regular, and they played like
they
what,
played,
250 times?
They played over. I think it was 250 times they played, and out of the 250 times, the Negro League team won about 200 games.
Wow. But what did they do? Because I'm sure they had to have done something because they didn't like losing, I'm sure.
Oh no.
So they had, you were saying something to the effect of they didn't call them the Negro League when they had played? They didn't put them in as that?
No, I got a tape. It's, I want you to see it. It's the ball always shines somewhere. And they would tell you about the different, how this guy named was Novikov. I think he's one of the best pitchers in the majors. And the guy said, he told Cool Papa Bell, now he was one of the guys, he was so fast, so he could cut the lights out and he'd be in the bed before it got dark. And they were saying that he was down in Cuba, said he ran from first to third so fast, and said that Cuba said, no, he had to cut across the field, so he couldn't run that.
Right.
So they was asking him, so what you think about what Novikov said? Said Novikov said they were beating on, he was one of the top pitchers in the majors. And he said, I'm not going back to the majors till I beat these niggas. So Papa Bell said, well, we're going to keep him out here till about November.
Did he ever beat him?
No.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. And Dizzy Dean, that used to come on the radio, on television early when they started announcing the games, he used to talk about, he used to play against Satchel Paige. And they would play games like they played in Yankee Stadium. The Negro League All-Stars would play the Bob Feller All-Stars, and they played 2-1. Bob Feller win 2-1, then the next day the Negro Leagues would win 1-0, you know. And they'd have 50,000 people at those games.
Wow.
And see, Robinson, Ricky, it had to be a setup. See, Robinson was from the West Coast. So they had Robinson to play with the Monarchs. 1945, he played with the Kansas City Monarchs. But see, he couldn't make the Monarchs team. I mean, they just gave him a position.
Gotcha.
The Monarchs were loaded. They had Barney Sorrell. They had a lot of good ball players. But they made him a shortstop. And but he wasn't. It was too fast. I mean, he wasn't fast enough. He was fast, but he was too large for his arm wasn't good enough for shortstop. So they had to move him around. But now what he did, you see, that was a setup for them to bring him there, and then he went to Montreal.
Got you. So they already knew from the gate that they wanted to have him in the regular league.
They had him. He played in Montreal. But I can say one thing about Robinson. He developed. Once he got into the majors, he developed. And he had something that I've never seen any other ball player could do. He could let you trap him off the base. And he'd be ducking and dodging, and in a rundown, he could get the other base.
Gotcha.
You couldn't get him out. Plus, he would come down that line, and if you didn't watch him, he would steal home.
Gotcha.
See, that's the type of ball that
and it's exciting.
black
People
baseball
like to see
play.
that.
Plus, if you notice the majors now, they can't bunt. Plus, they lose the ball in the sun. See, we didn't have that problem. We didn't have sunglasses.
Right.
You knew how to guard.
Right.
Yeah. You knew that we had managers. I had a manager named was William Dizzy Dismute, and he'd be about 60 feet from the plate, and he could tell from the rotation of the ball if it was a breaking pitch or it was fastball. See, and they could tell. Now, if you were a good hitter, see, this is what baseball a little different from the other sports. I know I was out there, I was hitting about 370. I said, oh, boy, I got it. The next time around, see, I was hitting the high pitch. Oh, I was having a good time. Next time around, everything come around by my knees.
Right.
So then I had to make the adjustment. See, that's what you have to do. See, they find out if you can hit the high ball, they're going to pitch you low.
Right.
See, and they don't throw anything on the heart of the plate. And they were saying Satchel used to take a matchbox and warm up and throw the ball over a matchbox.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to come back, and I want to talk about something a little deeper than baseball. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go to a break. Y'all come back and don't touch that dial.
All right.
Wardrobe provided by Upscale Men's Fashion. Now, you know the VAdio Show is all about uplifting the community. And what makes a better and stronger community than strong businesses and organizations? Now, last year we did the Billboard campaign, which was awesome. We had 16 local businesses and organizations, and they were able to get major visibility on the highway. But we want to do something much better this year. Since everyone has a New Year's resolution, we want to make this year the best year of your life. We want to give a gift to the community and wrap this bus. Now, we have about 15 of these promos on the back of HRT buses around, and they do great. But there's nothing better than seeing a fully wrapped bus that you've never seen before. Not only a bus that you've never seen before, but a bus that's riding with 28 to 30 local businesses and organizations on the side, getting major visibility, major promo, and this is a billboard that moves. We really look forward to hearing from you. Only a few slots left, so get in contact with us through social networking or email. However you got to do it, get in contact, because this won't be lasting long. These spots will go fast. So come on and take this ride with us, and let's show this community exactly what we can do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to the VAdio Show, and we're going to get a little bit deeper than baseball now. I wanted to know because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to civil rights and integration. From your perspective, you being there, tell me those things when it came to integration and civil rights, because there's some things that were very helpful, but it hurt us in a couple of ways.
Yeah, we lost a lot. And we gained a little. But when the Major League started to integrate, the president of the Negro League was under the impression that they were going to bring the Negro League in as part of organized baseball.
Okay.
But once he started grabbing the black players, the Negro League owners had to get a contract to protect them. But Ricky took a lot of the players, didn't give them any money. Now I have a tape that Ethel Manning, she was the owner of the Newark Eagles, and she had Monty Irving, and she offered Monty Irving to Branch Rickey, and he didn't want to touch him. And so what happened, the Giants, they were on the Giants because they didn't have a black player. The Yankees wasn't ready. You know, the Yankees were big in money.
Right.
So the Giants gave her $10,000 for Monty Irving. That's all she got. See?
And that's it.
Yeah, they didn't pay anything for Mays. They just took those players. Now a lot of those players should have got $100,000 more. But then after the Robinson was in the majors a few years, him and Ethel Manley had a fallout, and he was talking about Negro League was disorganized and the guys was drinking, you know, which, you know, you have a little drinking, but not that much. Because I know when I was playing, we might drink a beer, but in that time the crowds had, shrunk. And, and when you got some money, you had something to eat. You didn't have no lot of habits. We didn't have to worry about. And plus, once you played, and especially if you go and play tonight, and you strike out a couple of times, now you going to bed. You
ain't got no time for that.
You had time for a whole lot of drugs, and matter of fact, we didn't have that many players that even smoked cigarettes.
Gotcha. Because y'all got to play every day.
Every day. And they had a quota system too on those players, because this guy, the Giants had Monty Irvin, Hank Thompson, Sam Jones, and Ray Noble, and they had he had played down in the Mexican League, Ray Dandridge. And Sal Magley was telling them, said, look, man, bring this guy up because he can hit. But he was hitting 365 at the in Minneapolis.
Nice.
But they never brought him up. See, he was one of them that they didn't want, they had too many. They didn't want to have too many. See? And like I said, even in organized ball, they would have so many on the team. And they had a quota.
Gotcha. So they couldn't load the major leagues
and
up.
Plus, then what they would do, like I said, I had a chance to go to camp, and it would be the three of us. If you're a left fielder, you're right fielder, I'm a center fielder. They put all three of us in one field. So that means we're gonna cut two. See, that's the way they
play these games.
They play the games on you.
Now let me ask you this: when it came, and this is outside of baseball, you was telling me something that I didn't really know. We owned a lot of places. Like early on, you had said that y'all would go down south and you would go and stay at hotels that were black-owned
hotels, black-owned restaurants. Yeah, we did. And Memphis, the Memphis Red Socks, up until 1960, still owned their own ballpark.
Wow.
Martin Stadium in Memphis. Yeah. And inside the park, they had rooms where we stayed in, nice rooms, because the Martins over in Mississippi, they had like a hospital, and we had hospital beds and a nice kitchen. We had laundromat right inside the bar.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we were making our own way, but then integration came in.
And they killed our crowds.
Gotcha.
And what baseball did, not only for the Negro League, for small town America, they did away with all the team television. The monster, that's a terrible monster.
Don't get me started.
And that has hurt us. And most of the little small towns that had their own teams, when the television come, they did away with the leagues. Now what they've done now, baseball has done like used to have. It started with D-ball. Then you had C-ball. You had A, double A, triple A, the majors. You had a couple of triple A teams, which you have now. Norfolk is a triple A team. See, but what they do now, they D, C, B, college play like 80 games a year now. So that they've done away with those lower classifications. See, and like I said, the town, and it's a lot different when you go to a ball game, you watch a game, baseball game on television. Yeah, now the other football, basketball, you know, is exciting, but just to watch a baseball, the only time I think people actually watch baseball, other than myself, who's a die-harder, is during the World Series time or the playoff time.
Because it used to be they call it the American pastime.
Yeah, it was. And people played it, and but like I say, you didn't have the NFL. See, now the NFL started playing football, and even in high school, they started practicing. See, what we did when I was coming along, you played football from September until Thanksgiving Day. Then the basketball started. Then in March, you start football. But now, if you notice, the NBA is playing up until April. Right into baseball season. Yeah, see, then they football starts, in the middle of the summer. And they play, now all of them, now baseball is going to play right up until into October now.
Right.
Yeah. So
the way the games are played, and with TV, you know, it makes it seem like basketball and football is more exciting. There's more going on.
Yeah.
Baseball is more of a.
And then baseball, what they did, they tried to play inside, you know, but now a lot of the places that had indoors, like Minneapolis, they built a new ballpark, and as cold as it is up there, they built that park on the outside. But just like people you can accustom yourself to adjust to the temperature, you know.
Right,
like in Green Bay, those people come out, put on their parkas, and, you know, and baseball is the same way.
Well, it seems like, man, a lot of things have changed, but I'm just glad that people were able to get the knowledge from the source that was there,
right?
How those changes happened and where we are today. And one more question before we go: what would you say about baseball of today? What would you say about that versus back when you played?
One thing I can say about baseball, I wish I was playing to get some of that big money.
How much y'all make back then?
I played for the love of the game. Yeah, I mean, because
y'all did make a little money.
Yeah, we made, at that time, I think minimum wage was $1 an hour. And when I was playing baseball, I was getting, I would have been getting about $2 an hour. So
okay.
Yeah, so I was above minimum wage. Yeah, it was, you know, you were making, and plus you were traveling. I got $1 million worth of knowledge from traveling, and going to Canada, Mexico, all over from Vancouver all the way to Vancouver, Victoria, British Columbia. And I know I was watching TV once, and they were talking about the most contaminated town in America is a silver mine in a place called Libby, Montana. I played ball there.
Wow.
We played one in North Dakota. We went to this town, and we didn't see a ballpark. So we looked around, we said, well, let's go play. So we saw a bulldozer. Bulldozer pushed the trees down. And we strung up some lights and played a game.
Gosh almighty.
Yeah, we played a game.
Made it happen.
So it was hard when the ball hit the ground. They had the stumps and yeah. But we played. Yeah, and some of the lights, and when that dynamo, when you're playing, you got a dynamo, when that dynamo starts up, the lights get dim. Yeah, but we didn't have a problem with the ball. And then we played from out of those conditions, and then we had a chance to play Yankee Stadium, Evans Field.
Nice.
Yeah. Played in Briggs Stadium in Detroit, you know. Yeah, so we had it. Yeah.
Wealth of knowledge, man, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us.
Yeah, man.
And we're going to have to get out there. I know you got a lot going on in the community. There's things going on out there. I think we're going to have to get out there and get the cameras out and see what the rest of the guys got going on.
That's what we need to get with the youngsters, because we got some youngsters now. And the Little League World Series this year, it was great. Because the Chicago team from the south side of Chicago won the United States. They lost to South Korea in the Little League World Series, but they are the champions of the United States. And plus, Philadelphia had a young girl that was throwing that blind them. Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
She was good like that.
Oh yeah. So, and what's happening? We got a lot of youngsters that's coming back to the game. They're playing it, and the only problem is when they get up into the high school, when they move into high school level, we don't have the proper coaching.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, just like my school, Booker T, I think they lost all of their games this year, but the coach they got, he's sitting on a water cooler with a clipboard in his hand. He doesn't coach. I gotta be honest. And he doesn't coach during the summer. And the other high schools have fall ball, but Booker T doesn't have it. You know.
We got to see what.
So to be competitive, you know, we're gonna try to do, you know,
step the practice up.
Yeah, we gotta step up to the plate. Okay, we gotta step up to the plate.
Well, everybody, this was a moment in Black history. I thank y'all for watching. Thank you for coming. And we'll see y'all next episode.
What happens to a dream deferred?
When a cat take your money, he don't leave no roadmap.
Biology is just great. And yesterday I dissected something that looked just like you.
Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun?
Do you know what this money means to me? Do you know what this money can do for us?
Negroes invade Clybourne Park.
Or does it fester like a sword, then run?
Money is life, mama.
Looks like the youngest is moving on up a little higher. Bless God.
For a raisin in the sun. Coming to Willett Hall in Portsmouth, Virginia for 2 spectacular shows. March 14th at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Doors will open at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Show times 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. March 14th, 2015. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster, Ticketmaster.com, Willett Hall box office, Willett.